Hi guys, Dr. Wendy Dearborne here with another episode of Food Beyond Its Nutrition. Well guys, on the plate today I have, that's right guys, mac and cheese, homemade creamy, dreamy mac and cheese. This is one of my signature dishes guys, and the secret is all in the cheese. So let's get to it. Okay guys, to make that delicious signature dish of mine, which is macaroni cheese. So what I have on my cutting board are two types of cheese. Usually I use 3, sometimes 4. What I usually use is a smoked Gouda, or Gouda as they call it here, but I call it Gouda, so a smoked Gouda. I usually use an apple smoked cheddar. That's my ultimate favorite, those two. And then just a regular American white cheese, or a regular cheddar cheese. But I wasn't able to get the apple smoked cheese, so I just have Gouda and some cheddar, white cheddar. I have basically 2 cups of cheese here. It might look a lot more, but it's basically 2 cups. You can add more, you can add less, whatever it is that works for you. I also have milk. My particular brand is Strauss. Whenever I do use milk, that's my brand, okay, Strauss. And that's half and half. I always use half and half. You can actually use coconut milk if you want to do this. If you want it totally dairy free, you can use coconut milk and oil, because we're going to make a roux. But let me introduce you to what else I have on the table. When I actually finish putting it together, before I put it into the oven, I'm going to grate a little bit of, that's fresh nutmeg over it. And I'm going to sprinkle it with some Italian seasoning. So what do we need to make this delicious sauce? And as I said, it's one of my signature dishes. I'm going to actually make my roux with some garlic. And to make my roux, I need butter and I need flour. I have 2 tablespoons of each, and it dawned on me I'm not making such a large batch, so I actually might just use half of this. But typically 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter and 2 tablespoons of flour, and we're going to make a roux with that. Into the roux, I'm going to put, as I said, garlic, and I'm going to put some of the Italian seasonings, and I have some salt and pepper here. Now, it's really important that the salt, you take care with the salt, because cheese already has salt in it. And if you salt your noodles already have salt. I don't actually salt my noodles when I cook them. As I've said to you guys before, the thing that usually gets salted is the entree. Whatever the entree is, whatever the main meal, the main course is, that is the thing that gets salted. And of course, if I make a salad. I am going to use penne noodles. I like these. These are, I think, baby penne or mini penne. I think they're called penne anyway. That's what I call them. So I'm going to use penne noodles. You can use whatever type of noodle you want. Now, if you find that you run out of milk, you can substitute with some water. Just add some water. You're looking for the roux. If you've got enough cheese, it will take care of the issue. If your cheese sauce, because we're going to make a bechamel sauce, really it's basically a white sauce, and then we add all this stuff to it. But if it turns out that it's too runny, it's too watery, then guys, just cook it down until it thickens. If you cook it long enough, it will thicken, but you have to watch it, because you don't want it to burn or to catch on the bottom. So guys, let's get to it. Okay, so now the water is boiling, which is what we want. I'm going to put my pasta in, and I've got about 2 cups of pasta here. So I'm going to put my pasta in, that bit, give it a quick stir, and I'm going to bring it back up to a boil. I'm going to cook it uncovered, and I'm going to cook this for about 12 minutes. I don't want it to be al dente. In this instance, I do not need it to be al dente. It turns out for me so much better when it's not. That's actually one of my secrets, is that the pasta's not al dente. even though once it's all put together, it goes in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. In the interim, we are going to make our sauce. All right, guys, to make the sauce, we're gonna put the heat on kind of medium. You don't want to burn anything. And I'm just gonna go ahead on and make the entire batch and see what happens. So put the butter in, allow the butter to melt, and when the butter is almost melted, I'm going to actually add my garlic and let that start doing its thing. Give that about 30 seconds or so. I'm going to add my flour, and that is most of it. Alright, and we're going to let this cook now. We're going to let this come together, we're going to let it cook. Because what you're trying to do is really cook away the actual flour taste. Just a tad more. The flour taste, you're trying to get that taken care of. I'm actually going to add a pinch, 2 pinches.
Wait, what? Is Italian herbs or Italian seasoning?
Smelling good. And I'm going to add my salt and pepper. Not at the end. I'm adding it now. It's nice. When it cooks, instead of you know, adding it to the sauce, then it's really nice when you cook it this way. It allows the actual aromatics, like in the pepper, to be released, with the herbs to be hydrated and then release their aromatics. And that's it. That's it, guys. All right, now this is how I do it. Many people do theirs differently, but this is how I do it. Sometimes I'll turn the flame off. People just add all the milk at one time. I don't do that, because I don't like having to stand and whisk and get rid of lumps, which is what will happen. And then when you have stuff like garlic in it and that, it's like, well, what's a lump of flour and what's garlic? All right, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to turn the heat up and I'm going to show you what will happen when you increase the heat. Okay, you see this is thickening again. It's becoming thick again. Well, that's actually what you're looking for. And eventually what will happen, you'll see what will happen. I'm going to add a little bit more milk. And I actually haven't adjusted the heat. And this eventually will become saturated. Alrighty. Alright, guys. Add a bit more milk. And that was a pint, I believe, of milk I had there. Okay. Add a bit more. You see it will thin out. It will thin out. Less thinned out. You could do this with stock. You could do this with a number of things. Okay, a bit more milk. That's all the milk. Well, that's not actually all the milk, but we're going to add a bit more milk. Okay guys, and you actually need, for the recipe that I've just given you, you need a quart, you need 32 ounces of milk. So I'm just going to actually pour it all in. Alright guys, that was the other bottle. I'm going to turn it up because I actually want to bring this to a boil. See, and it's fairly thick. I like a nice thick creamy sauce. So we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we are going to put the cheese in, and that will be cheese sauce done. You can then check it for seasoning, but like I said, I put my salt in already. The cheese has enough salt in it. I'm good. Keep stirring, because again, all you want it to do is come to a nice rolling boil. Let it boil for a couple of, I don't know, for about a minute, because you want it hot enough that the cheese will melt. The noodles are done. Alright guys, so you can strain them. Again, I'm going to leave them in the water because I don't want them to be al dente. That's really important. I don't want them to be al dente. Okay, I want them to be done. Not falling apart mushy, but I want them to be done. Okay guys, sauce is just at about a boil, which is where I want it. See, it's bubbling here, and that's just where I want it. Okay guys, so I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to put in my cheeses. That's the smoked Gouda, and that is the cheddar. Okay guys, we're going to just mix this in. The residual heat, I spoke about that. I was cooking something the other day, and I was speaking about the residual heat, and the residual heat will be enough to melt the cheese. See, that's what you want it to be able to do. Coat the back of the spoon. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add the pasta. We're going to put the pasta in our dish, in our baking dish, and then we're going to add the sauce. Okay? Alright, here's our pasta. I have that's about 3 cups of cooked pasta. I'm going to add my sauce, for the most part, all of it. But I'm going to work that in. I'm going to work it in. And it may look like a lot of sauce and not enough noodles, but I like a saucy type of mac and cheese. It can be thicker if you want, and it definitely can be thinner if you want. I'm going to add just a little bit more, and I'm going to save the rest of the sauce for something else. Put that over mashed potatoes, you can put that over fish, you can put it over broccoli. It's a cheese sauce. And what I like about this is that the noodles, because they've got holes in them, they'll fill up with sauce, and that's what I'm trying to do. I now have some nutmeg, fresh nutmeg. I'm going to grate the fresh nutmeg over it. Some people put breadcrumbs over so it'll be all crispy. It doesn't matter to me in that regard. This just takes it to another level. If you make quiche,
no matter what quiche you make, if you grate a little bit of fresh, and the key here is fresh nutmeg on the top, it takes it to another level. I want you to be almost buried. See guys, this is how you do it. I want you to be almost buried. I could have used all the sauce, but never mind. Okay, so then I'm gonna just sprinkle some mixed herbs on, some Italian seasoning, mixed herbs. All right guys, and then this will go in the oven at 350. That will go in the oven at 350 for approximately 25 to 30 minutes, and it all start bubbling up. It's going to be absolutely delish. Okay guys, this is the mac and cheese, and it is done. Look at it, it's all nice golden brown and bubbling and everything. Yes guys, it is done. So this is ready to be served. Just a little bit of greenery on top, you know, just zhuzh it up a little bit. And that's it. That's my signature mac and cheese. Actually, to see the sauce, this is how saucy it is, right? Which is what I like. If you like yours thicker, guys, you can make yours thicker. It's your world. It is literally your world. So you can make it as thick, you can make it as thin as you like. But again, I like mine to be really saucy. It tastes good too. Well, the cheese sauce tasted good. So anyway, guys, as I say, bon appetit. Come on, guys. We're gonna eat.